hope you haven't lost your faith. I hope you haven't lost your fighting spirit. I hope you haven't been waiting long, 'cause I'm not coming back to you. I'm headed to the city where the tumbleweeds grow, where the animals live, where the people don't show their faces any more than they show their lives. Sit in chairs and wait for the finale to arrive, and I really want to hear somebody close to me say that's not real.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming. Welcome to the first Agape Latte at Manhattan College. So first I'm going to start with just telling you guys a little bit about what Agape Latte is. Agape means a love that seeks nothing in return. Agape Latte is a conversation series exploring the intersection of faith and life. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Shawn Ladda of the Kinesiology Department, discussing her own personal faith journey.
Welcome, everyone. This is a pleasure to be here in Jasper Lounge with so many of you. And to kick off Agape Latte. Now we know agape means love. We all love coffee, right? We love coffee. But we're going to go beyond loving coffee tonight. And I want to thank Connor, and I want to thank some of my fabulous wellness students for nominating me and selecting me to speak tonight. So, as you saw on the poster, you saw me sitting on a picket fence, I think, and there was this beautiful church in the backyard. And so, the overarching theme of my chat tonight is church in your backyard. And so I thought I would start off tonight talking about my background and what this saying means, or this group of words in terms of church in my backyard. And I'll start with, I was born in Chicago, as you just learned. I was born on June 30th, and you can guess the year, it was a few years ago. And I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. That was another trivia question. So 5 of us. And my father was a scientist, and he worked outside of the home a lot of hours. So pretty much my mother, she actually was a first grade teacher. She was trained as a teacher. But with all of us children, she was a stay-at-home mother. I was very, very fortunate, because she was a school teacher. Who better do you want? Right? As a mom who could help educate us in so many different ways. But anyway, she had this idea that church was in your backyard. And I think this is a great way that I think represents my faith journey. And all of us have different faith journeys, and we probably have some common threads in our faith journey. So church in the backyard was about my mother really believing that having faith was important and finding what has meaning for you. And for one person, what they have meaning for them might be different for someone else. And so my mother had this idea. I'm not exactly sure. I saw her last week for lunch, and I was trying to get her to give me some tips about church in the backyard and maybe some thoughts I might share with all of you. And she really didn't come to a point of explaining where the church in the backyard came from, but actually I think it just resonates from who she is. And she grew up, she was raised Protestant, Presbyterian, as well as my father. And my mother had this idea with, my 2 brothers and 2 sisters that she was going to expose us to different faiths in terms of organized religion. So one Sunday, she would take the 5 of us and we would go to the Presbyterian church. And, I'm sure she would ask us questions afterwards. What was the minister saying? What was important in that message? And then the next Sunday, she would take us to the Catholic Church. And we'd go to a different organized religion. We'd go to the Catholic Church. And then the next week, we'd go to the Lutheran Church. And I've told, some of my friends a story, and they kind of look at me like, I know what they're thinking. They're thinking, gosh, your mother was way ahead of her time. Then the next, Saturday, we would go to the Jewish synagogue. We had, growing up, in the many different places that we lived, we had a lot of different types of friends that practiced different religions, had different beliefs. And what I really learned from that in my faith journey is that there are some universal values. So whether you are going to the Catholic Church, or you're going to the Lutheran Church, or the Presbyterian Church, or the Jewish synagogue, or whatever, a mosque, or wherever else you may go, that there are these universal values. And I think that's really what was reinforced in my family anyway, that there are universal values and the importance of those universal values. And I'm going to ask some of you, maybe you can help me with maybe some voices that you hear in the back of your head that maybe your parents or grandparents or aunts or uncles have reinforced to you. All right, let me give you an example. Treat others like you want to be treated. My mother always said that. And I would say that definitely is a universal value and was part of this idea of church in your backyard, meaning that the importance of church in your backyard is how you are every day, how you treat people every day, how you are as a person in this world. What do you bring to this world? And trying to figure out, what's your passion? What's your purpose in this world? And, I know when you're going to college, right, people say, what's your major? What do you want to major in? And I always say, in my classes, I see some of my students in here, there are plenty of 50-year-olds who haven't figured it out yet. So why are we asking you, at 17, 18? It's a journey. I think faith is a journey. Figuring out your place in the world, your purpose in life, your passion, what you can offer to the world. And so I feel very fortunate that, I think that church is in my backyard, in my front yard. What it represents is that faith journey of how you are every day. Can we think of some lessons, do you think, in the back of your head about treating others like you want to be treated? Yes.
Well, I guess one that's always been kind of ingrained, since I was little, is just always being thankful. I guess whether it's at church or otherwise.
Without a doubt, being thankful and appreciative for what you have. And last week we had the racial teach-in. It was outstanding. The messages, the different social psychology experiments that some of you were participating in. And, I went to high school in Pennsylvania, in Hershey, PA, Chocolatetown, USA, very white, privileged community. And as I evolve in this faith journey, I recognize, I reflect on, how fortunate and how thankful, I am for the opportunities that I've had. So definitely, being thankful. If you don't have something positive to say, don't say anything at all. I don't know if all of us follow that rule. Okay, but that's something that, I'm trying to think of some of the messages that were reinforced as I was growing up. And I'm sure you can think of some of those. You have another one? Great.
Put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Put yourself in someone else's shoes. So, for us to get beyond ourselves, and I think that very much is part of a faith journey, that maybe there's something, bigger than yourself, that putting yourself in someone else's shoes, understanding someone else's journey, I think is a really, really important lesson. So I do feel like that there are ways that as we go through our journey in life and through education and our experiences, that I tend to believe that we are where we should be. And I really believe that I am where I should be right here at Agape Latte at Manhattan College. Because for me, very much the values and beliefs that I have greatly connect to the Lasallian pillars and the tradition of Lasallian. I mean, some of my dear brothers are here, and I know I've said to a few of the brothers, in another life I was a Christian brother. I mean, I think that, those Lasallian pillars, and actually recently a friend said to me, but Shawn, you're a woman. And I said, well, I know that we're evolving and we have Christian brothers and Christian sisters. I've always been included in the community with the brothers. So I feel so blessed that I'm here at Manhattan College. I feel like that there is a reason. And those, the Lasallian pillars and traditions, and I think actually Mary afterwards is going to have a trivia question perhaps, and ask for some people to offer some examples of those pillars. But one of those pillars really that resonates with me is the pillar of social justice. And when you look at the definition of social justice, I think, most people will include education and health in terms of social justice. And so if we look at the world at large, we have a lot of work to do because there are many people who are not in socially just environments, that they are getting the education and that they are getting the health care that I believe that a socially just society would want every person to have access to those. So when we look at the Lasallian pillars, definitely social justice resonates through me, around me, as well as when we look at quality education. John Baptist de La Salle very much believed that all people, right, should have a quality education and a practical education. And I think with my work in the Department of Kinesiology, definitely, we try to instill in students education, but a practical education, meaning that they get practical experience, internships, get to observe in the schools, and, across that social justice theme, to go to many different schools in the neighborhood. And some of these schools are more socially just than other schools. Thirdly, tonight, I wanted to talk about campus ministry and social action. And within campus ministry, it's an opportunity for one to be called to action to perhaps act on some of these pillars of Lasallian tradition. Along with campus ministry, we have social action. So some people become involved in campus ministry and social action through this desire to do good in the world, to maybe put their feet in other people's shoes, and to contribute to social justice in the world. So how many of you have been involved in a love trip, for example? Okay, so we know the LOVE acronym stands for Lasallian Outreach Educational Experience. And so this is an awesome opportunity for one to serve others and to experience social justice or a lack of social justice and have an impact on improving social justice. And what can happen is through that experience, one can be more deeply connected with themselves and a reflection on self, and that contributes, again, to your faith journey of your purpose and passion in life. So some people will enter the idea of campus ministry and social action on the social action end, and some individuals, the door will open at campus ministry in terms of asking some of those philosophical questions. Who am I? What do I believe in? What's important to me? What What is my calling in this life? And by asking yourself questions like that, reflecting on those type questions, will perhaps push you into action, into social action, and wanting to volunteer, wanting to do good in the world, wanting to be a Lasallian volunteer, for example. Lastly, I wanted to mention spiritual wellness. And spiritual wellness, as my wellness students know in here, wellness is multidimensional. A lot of different dimensions of wellness. And one very important part of wellness is spiritual wellness. And one gains spiritual wellness through a lot of different ways. There isn't one way. It's connected to one's faith journey, finding purpose, passion, having peace within yourself, being more inner directed rather than peer pressured, outer directed, because one who's inner directed has those values and beliefs that's not going to, it's going to steer them in their life and result in purposeful life. And so with spiritual wellness, through different experiences, that can help you gain that spiritual wellness. Spiritual wellness is something that is ever evolving, and it is a life process. And so I would encourage everyone here, to be reflective, to be reflective on values and beliefs. Ask yourself questions like, what is my purpose? What is my passion? Why am I here? And take upon yourself opportunities here at Manhattan College to be involved in that can help one reinforce your values and beliefs, challenge your values and beliefs, look at the world in a broader perspective to be able to put your feet in other people's shoes. So thank you. It's been a pleasure to speak tonight, and I wish all of you spiritual wellness. Thank you.
Dr. Ladda was awesome. It was really interesting what her parents did with her faith because, I'd never heard of anyone really doing that before. Seeing the world from a different perspectives of different religions. And I think that really helped her, and you could really see that in her talk today. She really has a good world view, and she, a lot of the things that she was saying were really interesting, and they're good things to think about for Lent coming up.
It's really great to hear from Dr. Ladda about her connection to the Lasallian core values, because as students of a Lasallian college, we relate to that also. And I think it was also great to hear about her trip to Jamaica. I know the three of us just came back from love trips also. I went to Haiti over break, and Alana and Lorraine both went to New Orleans. And what Dr. Ladda was saying about being in a community with so little, but also with so much love, was a direct connection to my experience in Haiti. And it's great to have that connection with a faculty member. So couldn't have had that without Agape Latte.
It was really just not like in class when a professor yells or talks to you and forces you to participate. It was like everyone here was willing. And another thing that I loved is that it wasn't just like campus ministry. I saw people from all different departments, student life, people who live in Jasper, every single building, commuters were here, and everyone was participating. And I felt that it really provided a great sense of community for Manhattan that I see every day, but this really showed it, and I loved it.
I think this was really great. We had a great turnout. A lot more people came than we actually thought was going to come at first, so we're really happy with that. Next time we're hoping to be even bigger. I think it's a really good thing to have just to talk about. I think the discussion of faith is really important to have in everyone's life. Whether you believe in something or not, faith is present everywhere, so I think it's really important.
Really nice to hear like someone else's perspective and like seeing where she went like to all the different churches and like synagogues and places, and it's definitely something that like not a lot of people talk about because I think they're scared to talk about it. So this was like definitely got the topic out there and like gave people the opportunity to talk about things that they normally wouldn't when they're just like hanging out with their friends. So I think this provided like a good atmosphere for that.
This was great because we don't really have a casual setting on campus where we can talk about this kind of thing. Most of the events that are related to faith are like these big, huge, formal events. So it's nice to have like a very casual setting where everyone can be relaxed and just hanging out. And it kind of allows the conversation to flow more freely instead of these like formal settings where you feel nervous to ask questions and that kind of thing. So I thought this was a great setting to have it in.
It's so important to know where your teachers come from and why they're here and how they got here. And she's one of my professors, so it's really important to just see. I've known her for 3 years and I've never known her like that. So it's really important to be close to your professors.
Yeah, I would definitely say here on campus we have a lot of events that have professors speaking about their research or about what they're passionate in as far as like academics. You know, and then we have retreats or we have outings for students to really learn about like who they are and where they've come from. But we don't really have too much about like the professors and really get to know them, where they come from, and especially like the spirituality growth. So I think it's definitely important that Agape Latte came to Manhattan College and she was very welcoming and that she spoke with us, and we get to learn a little bit about one of our professors and her spiritual growth.
This is a great first venture into the Agape Latte world, and I think we had a really good turnout. We had a great first speaker. I think there's a lot of enthusiasm, and so far I hear every little buzz around the room like, oh, that was really good, and that was really nice, and it was low-key, but it was really interesting. And so I think that's exactly what we were hoping for. I think the turnout was good. It's a great space. Grateful for the support. Have the musicians sing, and have Res Life and student activities. And Office of Campus Ministry, of course, and Vice President Satterley to help us out. So it's a great combination and good effort together.
Professor Ladda asked us for memories we have of our grandparents or parents in terms of sayings. And what came to my mind was the saying my grandmother used to say to my grandfather: Ed, there are more horses' asses than there are horses.
You belong. I wonder if they'll think of me. I wonder if they'll think, what a nice young man who we will never see again, and he will never see me. I had a dream I'd seen the world. I had a dream I had some independence. And I had a nightmare that my suit and tie strangled me to death. I'm headed to the city where the tumbleweeds grow, where the animals live, where the people don't show their faces any more than they show the light. Sit in chairs and wait for the finale to arrive, and I really want to hear somebody close to me say, that's not where you belong. It's not where you